Well, good morning, gentle listener. Welcome back to our daily Timothy time. It's Wednesday, 25th of November 2020. My name is Carl. I'm from a ministry here in Trondheim in Norway, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. Today's read, if you've been tracking with us, we'll be in Ephesians 1 to 3, and if you're reading through the Bible in a year, we will be in Judges 8 and 9. It's on the board there. Please try to get in there and read it. It'll be of profit to you. Today we're looking at Bible timeline number 56, I think it is. Yeah, 56. I'm just looking at those Roman numeral letters, and I got a bit I got a bit confused there. Isn't it amazing? Eh? Anyway, on a more serious note, we're going to look at Saul. Okay, so on the Bible timeline, we're at Saul. Saul has been saved. That's his Hebrew name. His Roman name is Paul. As I said yesterday, we're going to refer to our apostle as Paul, Paul of Tarsus. And there's so much to cover in this section, which is known. The biblical name of this time period is what Romans 3:21 calls "but now." Ephesians 2 says, "but now." There's a shift that's happened. We spoke about that yesterday. We're now in the dispensation of grace. Now, I want to focus in on Paul today, and let's open up the Holy Bible. And I want to blow on the coals of your understanding. Some of you might know this. Some of you might have forgotten this. And hence, let this blow on the coal of your understanding and let it ignite again. We're going to look at some things about Paul. Number one, Romans chapter 1 verse 1 lays it out. You can't get it any better laid out than this. It says, Paul, a servant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle, separated unto the gospel of God. That's a wonderful verse to study out. I want to look at that issue of Paul's separation. Okay. Number one, he was separated from his mother's womb. You read about that in Galatians. And if you compare verses with, if you go over to Jeremiah chapter 1, I think it's in verse 3, you can see a very similar thing happening. Go check that out. Okay. Number two, Paul was separated from Israel. Now we read about that in Acts chapter 9. Go have a read through there. And then in Acts 13, you see Paul separated unto his work. So Paul, he was as Romans 1 rightly says, separated unto the gospel of God. Now also too, I want to mention this. Paul, we know, was not one of the 12 apostles. There's a number of different reasons why, but the one that sticks out most for me would be Acts chapter 1. If you read in the context of Acts chapter 1, right at the end verse, I'm just going to go from verse 26, it says, "And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell on Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles." So that straight up tells us that Paul was not one of the 12 apostles. He had nothing to do with them. And if you take that one step further and go read what happened at the Jerusalem Council in Acts chapter 15. Now, in Acts, it tells us when it happened. Now, what actually happened at that meeting, you read about that in Galatians chapter 2. And Galatians chapter 2, I really wish we had time to cover that. But before I get into Galatians 2, I just want to read you this in Galatians chapter 1. Paul says here, "Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by man, but by Jesus Christ." Remember we spoke about Paul getting saved by the risen and ascended Lord Jesus Christ? And he goes on to say, "And God the Father who raised him from the dead." Then verse 11, "But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by revelation of Jesus Christ." Gamaliel never taught Paul this. The person that gave Paul his new instructions was the risen and ascended Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, and I'll say this, Paul never got that all in one hit. He got it over a span of, I think it's roughly about plus minus 30 years in different installments. Anyway, that makes for a great study. So I just wanted to introduce to you Paul, that he was separated. He was not one of the 12 apostles, and he got his commission directly from the Lord, the risen and ascended Lord Jesus Christ. Folks, tomorrow we're going to look a little bit more on the mystery, and until then, enjoy your day, and Maranatha.